Anyway, we are done that battle. The next thing we're going to is a map segment. But, if you know this part, it's where you see Vegeta as a giant monkey. You do not fight Vegeta as a giant monkey. Anyway, for Story 4, you're going to have access to both Gohan and Goku. You don't have Krillin for some reason. I don't know why you don't unlock Krillin at this point. But, to unlock certain characters down the road, you want to win this fight as Gohan, not as Goku. If you're thinking, well, Goku's stronger, why wouldn't I use him? You have to use Gohan, that's just how it is. So here we are on a map. Basically, this is all you can do. First, go down here. You can usually tell where something is, it just kind of looks like it. Like, it looks like you'd find something in this place. This rock kind of looks like it's out of place here. So we found a sword. Now, go talk to Krillin. He tells you how beam attacks and defeat attacks work here. Yeah, he's clear. Now run away. Choose yes here. Now I believe it's over here? No. It's here. Yeah, you receive a Kaio card here. I said you were going to receive that. Now, look around, find Yajirobe, talk to him. You found his sword, so you give it back, and he will give you a card. This card is different depending on if you choose the beam or defeat deck. For the beam deck, you get another endurance. And then Vegeta finds you automatically. So, we're going to be getting to a fight against Gohan. Or against Vegeta. He attacks Goku, and Goku's getting his ass kicked, and Gohan's like, I'll beat you. So, go to your status screen. Goku is not grayed out here. Technically, he is present, and you can use him. But we're going to be using Gohan. And, I actually don't think I got to... Okay, I did get to place a star, so... First, go into Goku. Take off his limits. Because while Gohan can't use the Super Kamehameha or the Kaioken, he can use that continuous kick. Whoops. Forgot to go to Gohan. Set his limits to continuous kick. And Masenko. As you can see, Super Kamehameha is grayed out. He cannot use that in his base state. So his Taioken, Kaioken will be as well. That's all Gohan needs for now. Let's go into the deck here. We're going to take Bulma out, because Bulma's a fairly useless card. You don't really need it. Put the Masenko in instead. And we're going to take one of the Chaozus out, because they can be useful, but they're not reliable. And we're going to go find that Endurance card and put it in as well. It's always nice to have a couple of Endurance cards, because sometimes you never know what they're going to throw at you. Sometimes you only need one Shockwave or Avoiding, but Endurance covers all grounds. So, we're just going to save, and we're going to jump right into this battle with Vegeta. Okay, good, Gohan is set. I was going to say, I completely forgot to set Goku as the battle here. Now, though this is the last battle of the Saiyan Saga, and Vegeta is a bit stronger now, this does not count as the, it doesn't really count as a boss battle. You can tell when you're getting into a boss battle by the music change. And you'll hear it 3 times. You'll hear it against Frieza, you'll hear it against Cell, and you'll hear it against Kid Buu. And they always happen at the 10th chapter. It's a multiple of 10, so on the 10th chapter, the 20th chapter, and the 30th chapter, that's when you'll face a boss battle. Those are probably the toughest battles in the game, which makes sense. They're boss battles. Anyway, for Vegeta here, the strategy is basically the same. You just have to watch out because his stats are higher, and he has some different, more powerful cards in his deck. He's still fairly easy to exploit. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. I still don't get why you don't get Krillin at this point. You do get Krillin in Chapter 5, but not in Chapter 4. Anyway, again, move into the air, so you know he's going to use his Gallic Gun. Destructo Disc, you have to just watch out for it. You never know when it's going to come up. You can maybe kind of predict when he's going to use it, but you never know for sure. Now for Gohan, you don't have to worry about using too many command costs here, or gaining too many because you don't have a support card in his limits. Especially not one as costly as the Kaioken. But for now, just follow your same basic strategy, the same basic one we're going to be using for most of the game, for my playthrough anyway. I think I've said this before, but you don't always have to do what I'm doing. There's plenty of ways to play this game. Maybe you just want to load your deck up with low-cost cards, like the Energy Bomb and the Energy Wave and the Continuous Punch, and then just give yourself a bunch of stat boosters and use those. Or maybe you just want to throw as many big attacks as you can at them, as many Super Kamehamehas and Spirit Bombs and Big Bang attacks as you can. Maybe you just want to wear them down. Maybe you just want to try and rely on tricky support cards that we'll get into later on down the road. But for now, what I'm doing is very basic, and it works fairly well. Plus, the AI is pretty easy to predict, at least through the first go-around. I've said this before. When they gather power, the first thing they're going to do is use a stage attack, usually 5, maybe 4, 6, depends on who it is. And then their second attack, they'll use their big attack. If you're in the air, it's probably going to be a beam. If you're on the ground, it's probably going to be a defeat attack. In Vegeta's case, we're just trying to goad him into using his Gallic Gun. Now, how I used to play this game, and this didn't yield the best results. This is just kind of me when I was first learning to play. It was as soon as I had enough card costs to use a big attack, and also had enough left over to defend myself, I would gather power and use that big attack. That made your opponent a bit harder to predict, so I don't recommend doing that. Now my ki is increased, so I'm probably going to want to try to use my Masenko on him. Ooh, and he moved into the air too, so that's even better. Now, you could always move forward. It's a risk-reward type thing. I usually just try to stay in the back. I only move forward when I think, oh, I'm really going to need some extra power here. For the most part, you should be fine without it. I don't really have a lot to say about this battle, because it's basically the same as the last one. You're just playing as Gohan instead of Goku for a change. We are going to gather power here, and I will check now, just to see if it increases stats at all. I'll check in my next turn, obviously. Toss the continuous kick, I think. Yeah. Because I've got that in my limits, so I don't need it here. And he's back on the ground, that bastard. Oh, well, next turn we'll try to knock him into the air. See if I can do it with a 4-stage attack or not. I do not have a foresight, so we're just going to guard here, hope for the best. I'm going to try to stay in the air, but you never know. As the stage attacks get greater, they knock you around quite a bit more. I can usually tell what's coming just by the first couple of hits here. I believe this one will not knock me down yet. It knocks me up instead. Okay, what did I draw this time? Ooh, an energy wave. Might come in handy. Okay, as I said, I'm going to check the character stuff here. Oh, what do you know? When you gather power, it does increase your stats a little bit. Hey, you learn something new every day. Anyway, we're going to toss the energy bomb again. We'll toss, yeah, energy bomb. I got another one in my deck anyway. And that's going to knock him into the air, so even better. Next turn I'll blast him with my Masenko, and obviously my ki stat's even greater because I use my, whatever card it was that increases ki, I can't remember. Oh, I got that Kaio card too, which decreases ki. I forgot to put that in my deck. Anyway, using Avoiding, because we know his Gallic Gun's coming. And despite looking like such a big blast, you can tell that it's a weaker blast because it doesn't knock you back to the back of the screen. Anyway, let's get him with the Masenko. Maybe he'll even move forward and do something stupid. No, but he still stayed in the air, so this is still gonna hurt. See, that did a nice chunk of damage because of my boosts. Now, it's at this point where just about every enemy you're going to run into is faster than you. And you get around that by putting a point into your speed stat. This does not work with every character. Birder, I believe, is the fastest character in the game, and he will outspeed just about everyone, if not everyone. Oh, he's going right back into Gather Power. Interesting. I can do that too, though. And that'll give me access to another Masenko. And I also have the cost left over to use a defense card. Ooh, what did I draw here? Reading Key. That could be even more useful. Okay, we're going to want to hold on to those defense cards. We'll toss a Continuous Punch. I still don't have a Foresight, though, but even if he does knock me onto the ground, I have Endurance, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm not going to risk using the Shockwave, because his Continuous Kick is a bit more unpredictable than his Gallic Gun. Just up my accuracy, no big deal. Now, I have a feeling he might try and use a defense card here, but we'll see what happens. As always, the AI gets a bit better at predicting things after you use your first big attack. Oh, he didn't. He even moved forward. That's really gonna hurt. Yeah, that killed him. That is it. Game over for Vegeta. Now, we have 3 cards here. First is Tien, a card we don't have. Tien is a special support card. Its ability is Knockdown 20. This means that it will do 20 damage to an opponent. And it's a support card, so it can only be avoided by getting lucky and avoiding it. But we will not be picking this card because you get a Tien card later on down the road. If you use it in a defense phase, I believe it stops a command attack. Don't quote me on that though. I could get another Full Spirit up my key, but we're actually going to pick this other avoiding card because more often than not you're going to run into opponents who primarily use beam attacks. And that's it. Vegeta's down, and we're going to be heading off to Namek next. We know how the story goes. Chapter 5 is going to begin with a map chapter, or a map part. And the thing is, this game follows Gohan's story for the most part. So obviously, while Gohan was not in a right state of mind, he's not going to remember any of what happened after he became a giant monkey. So all of a sudden we're on the plane. There's really not a lot to say about this. I mean, Dragon Ball story is one that anyone who's watching these videos should know by now. Story 5, Launch into Space, The Hope of Namek. Now, the first fight we're going to have here, we just start right off with the Ginyu Force. I don't believe we see or hear from Dodoria or Zarbon at all. Anyway, our first goal here is that we're going to be finding the Dragon Balls. So, Gohan's going to go find a Dragon Ball. This is the one that Vegeta hid in the water, I believe. And it's out in the lake. Now, before we do that, we're going to hit start here, and you can save at any time when you're in a map when you're at a map segment. So we're going to quickly save here, and we're going to call that recording session quits for the moment.